Investors are getting ready for a busy February ahead. Here with 5 stocks to watch in February is MarketBeat analyst Thomas Hughes. Thomas, before we get into looking ahead to what to invest in this February, let's talk about how the first month of 2025 has gone for investors.
It's been a pretty okay month. I mean, it hasn't been fantastic. It hasn't been bad. The market has moved essentially sideways. We're up for the month, but sideways over the last couple of months. We're showing good, strong support at these high levels. The outlook is pretty positive. I think that the market can continue to rally from here.
There's been a few notable things to happen in January that have impacted the market, though.
Well, right. Some of those things include economic data, the FOMC, and then the launch of DeepSeek. Last year, 2 years, the data has been kind of mixed with some spotty weaknesses, but the trends are bullish. The economy is expanding and the labor markets are strong. Part of that data is that inflation is persistently hot. It has not allowed the FOMC to cut rates the way that they were thinking that they would even just 2 or 3 months ago. So we just had an FOMC meeting. They affirmed that outlook. They backed off their stance. They're not quite as dovish as they were. They've entered this wait and see mode to see what happens over the next couple of months. But the way it looks right now is that inflation will probably sustain this higher than wanted level because economic conditions are good. Trump policies will provide a headwind. So we should be prepared for a higher than expected interest rate environment to persist for a little while.
Are there any new announcements or expected news to come out in February that might impact the market?
I don't think there's anything big coming out, but February will be important for just the basic run of data and earnings reports because we're going to want to see these trends continue. If the trends continue, then we can be assured that the rest of the year will unfold fairly positively. But if we start to see some changes in data, as in labor markets weakening or inflation accelerating too much, then there may some red flags may be raised.
All right, Thomas, let's get right to your list of 5 stocks to watch this February. Which is your first stock pick for investors to consider?
The first one is Cloudflare. It's an internet cybersecurity stock. The stock price is up almost 100% from its lows. The chart looks really strong. It's forming a bullish flag ahead of the earnings expectations. Earnings will be released within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And there's a very high expectation. And that high expectation is in place because the entire cybersecurity arena is doing very well. This is a leader in the field, so there's really no reason to not think that they're going to do very well.
Why is now a good time at this price point for investors to get in February?
Well, the chart looks really strong. We've got a very strong rally up to the recent highs, which are multi-year highs. Now the market is consolidating into what I call a bull flag pattern. That's a continuation signal. We're going to assume that the market will move higher from here. If it does move higher, that confirms the pattern. And in that scenario, the market could move another amount above this breakout point equal to the rally that's already been in place. So that's like $70 or $80.
That's a good first pick for investors to watch this February. What's your second stock?
The second one is Commvault. This is another cybersecurity name. They're focused on data management and recovery. They just released their report. They outperformed very strongly. They provided strong guidance. They've got improving cash flow, improving balance sheet health, and the analysts are raising their price targets. So this is a perfect storm for this company. This stock price should move quite higher this year.
This is a company I don't think we've talked about on this channel before. What kind of sets them apart in the industry?
Well, like I said, they're focused on data management, and so they're helping businesses secure their data, which is important for continuity. You can think about all different kinds of cyber attacks, but one of the worst ones is if their data is taken and they can't function. So they need to be able to get their data back and recovered as quickly as possible in order to move past cyber threats.
Well, an interesting pick for people to consider, and maybe a new one if you've not heard of that company yet. Let's move on to your third pick for February of 2025.
The third one is Meta Platforms. They released their report just this morning. They outperformed, they guided higher, all driven by AI. So the AI is not only helping them improve the user metrics in their core business, but it's also driving this long-term outlook. As far as the core business goes, they're improving daily active users, they're improving their impressions per user, and their revenue per ad. So they've got a lot of leverage with their business. They're driving really good cash flow. Balance sheet looks awesome. They're building cash, buying back shares and paying their dividend. As far as AI goes, Zuckerberg teased a few developments this year, including one we already knew about, which was the AI assistant being added to the Ray-Ban glasses. But the Ray-Ban glasses are really gaining traction, And it looks like they could reach this pivot point, this critical mass this year, where they go from being this novelty product to being something akin to the iPhone, where everybody has to have one.
That is funny to hear that brand making such a big comeback
I
right
know
now.
Ray-Bans, right? I used to love Ray-Bans when I was a kid. Aviator glasses, my gosh, my dad was a pilot. I had to have some.
I love to see that that's impacting your stock pick for this year. Meta, again, like you said, earnings just came out. Investors are excited about this one and have been for a while. Let's talk about the competitive scene as far as social media platforms go, especially with Elon Musk getting into the White House and all of the TikTok news that we've heard about. Any of those news factors going to impact Meta platforms?
I mean, I think it all does, but it's more part of the day-to-day noise. Meta Platforms is well established. It's got a loyal following. It's growing its user count, improving its metrics. I don't think it's going to be hurt by these companies unless they come out with some kind of crazy new development, which I just don't see happening right now.
All right, very good. Let's move on to your fourth pick for February.
Right. So the fourth pick is Supermicro Computers. This stock is down hard off of its highs last year. There was the bear short report. There were some issues with their accounting, a lot of negative impact on market sentiment. Analysts were lowering their targets, but now the market has bottomed. It's at a clear bottom. The price action shows solid support. Analysts have started to upgrade the stock again because they've gotten a new independent auditor. We're expecting these accounting issues to be put to rest. And the company's business is still very, very strong. Right now, the stock price is trading at the price levels it was before the AI boom happened. And right now, the AI boom is in full swing for this company. It's growing by double and triple digits. It's supported by Nvidia's demand. So there's really no reason not to believe that this stock could bounce back sharply. But I have to put a caveat. There is some risk with this one more than the other stocks because those accounting issues have not been put to rest. So something could still come out. There could still be some volatility. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, we've recently done a video on this channel talking about SMCI, and a lot of our commenters had that same concern. They are nervous about getting into a stock when there are all of these accounting issues and really just accountability for this company still up in the air. Do you think that that is going to get resolved whenever the next earnings comes out?
I think it should. I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been some news since they announced their auditor. They seem to believe that it would be resolved fairly quickly, but no bad news has come out. The auditors haven't raised any red flags. So it's just a matter of wait and see right now.
And why does this company still, the business side of this company, still performing so well?
Because it makes server technology using Nvidia's GPUs, and it has some of the most advanced liquid-cooled systems. So it really is in demand for this huge, massive data center build-out that's being driven by AI.
Speaking of Nvidia, let's get to your fifth and final pick for the month of February.
Right, that would be Nvidia. I mean, seriously, the stock fell 20%. This is the buy entry point that, everybody's been waiting for. It's hard to want to buy a stock when it just dropped 20%, but 20% is a huge discount. That's 1/5 of the price. The analysts are panning the drop. The reason why was DeepSeek. DeepSeek certainly has kind of thrown a wrench into the AI works, but it hasn't altered the outlook. Nvidia's technology is still central to the advancement of AI, especially in the United States and in North America and in the West. Analysts are actually raising their price targets. The next earnings report is due out in a few weeks. It's supposed to be very, very strong. I would be very surprised if this stock did not, rebound pretty strongly.
And we've seen Nvidia starting to climb back from that 20% drop on Monday. How quickly do you think it could climb back up? And then historically, Thomas, we've seen Nvidia have a stellar earnings report and the stock drop again after that. So could we see a little bit more volatility still ahead?
I would say based on the technical response on the charts right now that the market may remain under pressure until the results are released. But like you said, there has been some post-release bearish activity in this market over the last year or so. But I think that with the stock price already down 20%, whatever volatility may arise from the report has already been priced into the stock. So right now, what I'm expecting is for the market to kind of move sideways, maybe a little bit lower, move sideways until the report comes. Report should affirm the outlook, and then we should see a pretty strong rebound at that point.
Another good option for investors to consider this February. Thank you, Thomas, for a great list of February stock picks. And thank you for joining us here on MarketBeat. Check out some of our other content, including this free premium report on the 10 best stocks for 2025. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the comments to get that free report at marketbeat.com right now. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. And as always, happy investing.